A mother insisted her daughter Brooklyn had geographical anxiety triggered specifically by globes in the classroom. She claimed flat maps were fine, but the spherical representation of Earth's curvature caused her daughter's chakras to misalign. She brought a crystal healer's note recommending we teach geography exclusively with printed atlases. When I explained we needed the globe for understanding time zones, she suggested we just tell the kids the sun moves differently over flat sections. She called it progressive cartography. A dad demanded I give his son math credit for playing basketball during recess because dribbling involves counting and shooting requires trajectory calculations. He had created a 17-page proposal explaining his theory of kinetic mathematics. When I said that wasn't how curriculum worked, he offered to demonstrate by calculating the exact angle needed to throw his coffee cup into my trash can. He missed by 4 feet but still insisted his son deserved the credit because effort-based geometry is valid. A parent sent a note saying her son Aiden doesn't eat vegetables because their family has a genetic predisposition to only digest beige food. She listed approved items: chicken nuggets, French fries, pizza without toppings, and plain pasta. When the lunch staff accidentally gave him a carrot stick, she showed up demanding to see the security footage to identify which lunch lady committed this nutritional assault. She called vegetables green sadness and said forcing children to eat them violates the Geneva Convention on Cruel and Unusual Punishment. A mother explained her daughter was a visual learner, not a spelling learner, so taking points off for misspelled words was discriminatory against her learning style. She brought a binder of her daughter's artwork to prove she could draw horses really well. When I explained spelling was still required for English class, she suggested we let her daughter draw pictograms instead of writing essays. She said hieroglyphics worked for the Egyptians for thousands of years, so clearly written language is just a modern conspiracy by dictionary companies. A father insisted his son couldn't participate in our solar system unit because learning about other planets would make him less patriotic to Earth. He wanted us to teach that Earth is the only planet that matters and the others are just decorative. When I showed him the state science standards, he said those were written by globalists trying to make kids feel small and insignificant. He suggested we focus on American achievements in space instead, specifically just the moon landing, and pretend Mars doesn't exist. He called it patriotic astronomy. A mom demanded we remove the number 7 from all of her son Kevin's assignments because he was allergic to it. She claimed exposure to the number 7 gave him numerical hives and anxiety. When I asked for medical documentation, she brought a note from someone who signed it, Dr. Patricia, with no last name or credentials. The note said Kevin's brain rejects prime numbers between 6 and 8 due to a rare condition called sequential integer sensitivity. I had to have a meeting with my principal to discuss accommodating an allergy that mathematically shouldn't exist. A parent complained that our school bus was too yellow and the brightness was giving her daughter optical fatigue. She wanted the district to repaint all buses a calming beige color. When the principal explained that yellow buses are a federal safety requirement, she brought paint swatches to the next board meeting labeled things like Desert Whisper and Oatmeal Dream. She started a petition that got 6 signatures. She told the local news that the school district was prioritizing tradition over children's retinal health and accused us of Big Yellow Bus lobbying corruption. A dad showed up insisting his son be moved to the front row of every class because front row people are statistically more successful in life, according to a blog he read. When I explained the seating chart was alphabetical and his son's last name was Williams, he offered to legally change it to Aardvark. He had already printed the court paperwork and filled it out except for my signature as a witness. He said successful people take action instead of accepting limitations. His son's current name would be Jaden Aardvark Williams if I had agreed to this. A mother sent an email explaining that her daughter Sophia had collaborative learning syndrome, which meant her brain was naturally wired to absorb information from other students during tests. She said punishing Sophia for looking at other people's papers was discrimination against her neurological learning style. She attached a PDF she made herself titled Medical Conditions the Education System Refuses to Acknowledge. When I said this was just describing cheating, she threatened to report me for ableism. She demanded I allow Sophia to sit between two smart students during every exam as a reasonable accommodation. A parent insisted their son couldn't do homework because their house had educational interference from the Wi-Fi router. He claimed the electromagnetic waves disrupted his son's ability to focus on anything except video games and YouTube. When I suggested turning off the Wi-Fi, he said that would be cruel because his son needed it for his gaming career. He proposed I give his son credit for time spent watching other people play video games on Twitch because that's observational learning. He called it the Montessori method for the digital age. A mom demanded I give her daughter an A on the science fair project even though she turned in an empty shoebox. When I asked what the project was, the mom said it was a minimalist art installation representing post-deforestation emptiness in the Amazon rainforest. She said judging it as inadequate meant I didn't understand contemporary environmental commentary. She brought articles about modern art to prove that emptiness is a valid artistic statement. When I explained this was science class, not art class, she accused me of stifling interdisciplinary thinking. The shoebox didn't even have a label. A father called me at 7 p.m. demanding to know why I gave his son homework on a Tuesday when Tuesdays are their family's mental health day. He said forcing academic work on designated wellness days violated their religious belief. When I asked which religion, he said they were non-denominational holistic spiritualists. He wanted me to email him our homework schedule 6 months in advance so they could plan their mental health days around it. He suggested we implement a system where families can opt out of homework on days when Mercury is in retrograde. He was completely serious about the Mercury thing. A mother insisted her son be excused from PE because he has a professional Twitch streaming career and can't risk athletic injuries. She provided his streaming schedule as proof he was too busy for physical education. When I explained PE was mandatory, she said supervising his health from the bleachers should count as participation. She wanted him to get credit for watching other kids play sports while he sat there with his phone. She called it sports management training. His Twitch channel had 47 followers. A dad complained that teaching about dinosaurs was confusing his daughter because they watched Jurassic Park as a family and now she thinks dinosaurs are still alive. Instead of explaining that it's fiction, he demanded we stop teaching paleontology until his daughter is old enough to understand movie magic. He suggested we tell the class that dinosaur bones in museums are just really old cow bones that got big somehow. When I said that wasn't scientifically accurate, he said accuracy is less important than not giving children nightmares about velociraptors in their backyard. A parent sent a note saying her daughter needed to be dismissed 5 minutes early from every class to prepare mentally for the transition to the next room. She claimed her daughter had threshold anxiety syndrome and needed time to emotionally process doorways. When I said this would make her late to every subsequent class, she suggested we have her daughter's classes all in the same room and have the teachers rotate to her instead. She wanted 9 different teachers to come to one specific desk throughout the day. She threatened to get a lawyer involved for denying disability accommodations she invented herself. A mother insisted we let her son bring his emotional support gaming console to school because he gets anxious without it. She had typed up a document on her computer claiming her family doctor said portable gaming devices provide therapeutic stimulation. When I explained we had a no phone no gaming policy, she said her son's Nintendo Switch was medical equipment, not entertainment. She wanted him to play Mario Kart during lectures to manage his stress levels. She said denying him this was like taking away a diabetic's insulin. The doctor's signature on her note was just the word, doctor, in cursive. A dad demanded we change our school mascot from a bulldog to a cheetah because bulldogs represent laziness and his son needed to be surrounded by imagery of speed and success. He created a PowerPoint presentation about the psychological impact of mascot selection on student achievement. When the principal said we'd been the Bulldogs for 60 years, he offered to personally fund new uniforms if we switched to a more motivational animal. He brought a list of acceptable animals ranked by their average running speed. He was prepared to donate $700 to rebrand the entire school. A mother explained her daughter couldn't turn in the essay because their printer was out of cyan ink and printing in black and white would compromise the aesthetic integrity of the assignment. When I said the essay was supposed to be typed with no colors involved, she claimed her daughter had added decorative borders that were essential to the argument structure. She insisted I accept a handwritten version, but only if I provided special purple gel pens, because her daughter's handwriting looks better in purple. She said standardized formatting requirements suppress creative expression. The essay was 3 days late. A parent complained that our fire drills were traumatic for her son because loud noises reminded him of his birthday party where a balloon popped. She wanted us to announce drills via group text instead of using the alarm. When I explained that defeated the purpose of emergency preparedness, she suggested we have silent fire drills where everyone just thinks about evacuating. She said visualization is just as effective as practice according to a life coach she follows on Instagram. She wanted written confirmation that we would never have another surprise drill. Her son was in 8th grade. A dad insisted his son deserved extra credit on the history test because they're direct descendants of Julius Caesar, so it's in their blood. He had created a family tree on poster board that went back 2,000 years with a lot of question marks. When I explained that didn't change the answers on the test, he said his son should get automatic as in history because his ancestors made history. He suggested we change the curriculum to focus more on the Roman Empire since that's his son's heritage. He called it culturally responsive teaching for Italian Americans. A mother demanded I change her son's grade from 98% to 100% because the 2-point difference would haunt him forever. She said seeing 98 instead of 100 on his transcript would damage his self-esteem and ruin his chances at Harvard. When I explained he still got an A+, she said the psychological impact of not seeing perfect scores would cause him to develop achievement anxiety. She offered to pay me $50 to change the grade. She wrote a check and everything. Her son was in 4th grade taking a spelling test about vegetables. A parent sent an email demanding we provide his daughter with a newer calculator because the one she had was from 2015 and outdated technology was affecting her math performance. He claimed fresh batteries make calculators more accurate. When I explained that basic calculators don't become obsolete, he insisted we run diagnostics on her calculator to prove it wasn't defective. He wanted a written report from the math department confirming her calculator met current calculation standard. He said if phones need updates then calculators probably do too. He attached a screenshot of a calculator for sale on Amazon for $12. A mother insisted we hire a private tutor for her 7-year-old son during school hours because she didn't have time to potty train him, and that's apparently our job now. She said she was too busy with her yoga instructor certification to deal with bathroom accident. When I explained that wasn't something schools provide, she offered to pay me personally to handle it. She said $200 seemed fair for what she called elimination coaching. She brought a folder of her son's accident log with dates and times. She treated this like a business negotiation. Her son was in 2nd grade.